Hi to everyone, this is Soma Sundaram. You call me Soma. And to give a background, I'm with around 20 plus years of experience in IT, and my specialty is in mobility, IoT, cloud, artificial intelligence, natural language programming. So, all these things was my core area of work for the last 20 years. And for the last 10 years in parallel, I was actually involved in agriculture practices, basically having my own land, getting into various kind of harvests, especially the plants, right from rice to the timbers. Everything was my core area of expertise. And at one point in time, we felt we need to go as an organization. That's where we started our own company called Vattam Agro and Dairy Industries. Vattam is basically going back to roots, or going back to the original things, right? We are trying to eliminate the chemical-based farming, and we are getting back to the natural farming as well. So that's the reason we have named ourselves as a Vattam. And we also have a brand called Medson, which is going to be focusing on organic products as such. And when I say we, it is like the group of farmers in our association. We have around 484 farmers in us as of today, and we deal with the complete home groceries as such. Okay, that's a quick introduction about us. Probably I will just share my screen to start with the core area of what we are going to have a discussion today. So, as a brief introduction, right, this is what we do. Personally, I have around 9 to 10 years experience today, and we from Vattam, we are doing both retailing and the wholesale business as of today, and we are moving forward as an FPO, which is basically the farmer producer organization. So that's the goal for next year that we have, and now we wish to have around at least 1,000 farmers in our core group as such. That's the overall thought process. So when we get into the core subject for today, what we feel is we are talking about automation, technology advancements, engineering things which is coming inside. All these things are great, but we just want to deep dive into what is there today, as of today, and where is the scope of advancement, and how it is different from European and the US agriculture to the Indian agriculture over here. Okay, when I talk about agriculture, right, there are 6 different stages in which the general agriculture actually goes on. One is right from seed preparation. What you do is you start with your preparing the seeds, or probably purchasing the seed, and then once you purchase the seed, you'll just go out to make sure that our land is. For an example, we'll take a rice as an example, right? So what you do is we go ahead and purchase the seed, which is basically the nillu or the paddy, and then we go to our land and make it even, make it tilt it with the tractor and make it even, and then probably we'll prepare a soil bed, and then probably we will be able to start sowing it directly through drum seeders or through tractors or by hand or by transportation methodologies. And then what we do is we understand how the specific paddy grows, and what would be the various symptoms in which there is a problem which is arriving in the plant, and then we do an harvest, and after harvest we store it in a place. Okay, this is the overall cycle of any product or any agriculture commodity that we are trying to make it up. Okay, we have taken here an example of rice, or probably we'll take an example of vegetable also in parallel. Okay. So today we will talk about what is happening in each and every stages of this agriculture process. Let's say we are talking about seed preparation. Okay, what we see generally in market, and when I talk about market, it is across the world. Okay, predominantly US European market is what we are talking about. What happens is basically they have the seeds which are either created in lab, through lab, or through universities, or probably you will harvest from your own place. Okay, maybe something like your traditional rice that is happening. Okay, so that seeds, what you do is the biggest challenge with those seeds are you will have a lot of microbe bacteria which is attached to the particular seeds. So what you might have to do is you have to do a seed encapsulation. Basically, you will clean the seed, you will make sure that the bacteria are not dead, and the seed as such is actually maintained properly, and then you will actually pack it up for a specific process. Before you pack it up, certain people will have additions of new microbes or bacteria which is in a dry state, something like an yeast which is being added on top of it to make sure that seed once it is thrown on the land, it is able to pick it up and grow. That is what germination is good. Second, also there are certain people or probably certain companies which actually coat the seed with certain type of chemical process where the seed is actually protected for next 1 year or 2 years, so that there is no insect which is actually harming that particular seed as such. Are we doing? Okay, let's talk about the automation a little later. But this is what the seed preparation process is. Okay, then comes the land preparation process. In the land preparation process, what is happening today is basically everyone in the world, right? We are actually talking about using a tractor, and you are okay. So basically, at a very high level, let's say you are talking about thousands of acres that you are going to prepare for a large cultivation, something like in US or in Europe market, right? So then what you will do is you will actually try to take a satellite image and try to see where the water sources, where the ups and downs are, and then you talk to your tractors to make sure it is actually the land is actually tilted, and basically you are breaking the first layer of the soil, and then it is actually tilted upside. Now you just turned over, and then probably you will make the soil to break, and it is easily powderable. Okay, so that is what you make it as a land preparation process. And with respect to rice, what you do is at the next level, you will actually moisture that particular land, and you will make sure that the land is even. It is even, so that the rice when it is now the seed or paddy seed which is thrown on the field will be able to grow evenly. Okay, so that is the land preparation process. There will be slight changes today, from plant to plant, but or crop to crop. But as such, this is the core process in which it will be done. Today, it is done predominantly through a tractor as a process. Okay. Third is the planting or sowing. When I talk about rice, so what we do is we do a two type of activities. One is you get your seeds germinated on a raised bed or a bed, and from there you are actually transplanting through human process. Okay, so that is the way we do it. Second method is basically you raise these seeds or germinate the seeds on a plastic sheet, and that sheet is actually loaded on a machine where it is actually there are many Japanese machines which is actually transplanting machines which is there, which actually once you load it on the tray, and it will go or transplant on the field and come back. Okay, there is no automation here, but it is a reducing the human effort. Third is the process where we talk about sowing, where you personally get into the field, walk down the field, you throw the seed through the hand. It is predominantly comes by an experience where we know how densely the particular plant or the crop needs sowing as such. That's the third method. Fourth method is basically using a tractor. We use the sowing methodology, or probably dropping the seeds in an equal intervals or frequency, and then probably you close that particular soil. That's the way we do it planting and sowing. Fourth is a plant monitoring mechanism, where what we have it as a mechanism today is basically getting into the land, taking a look at the leaf, the root, the stem, and see what is actually happening on the ground. Right, so that is the method in which it is followed. Second method is basically to get into the place where there are many apps which is coming. Plantif is one of the applications. You can see it on the mobile phone. So what you can do is you can actually scan your leaf or stem and see what exactly is happening over there. Is there any deficiency? For example, there might be a zinc deficiency or an iron deficiency, or more calcium or less calcium, magnesium. So all these things can be monitored through the colors in the plant as such. So that is what or the method in which it is actually growing, or the way the fruits are coming up or the seeds are coming up. So probably we might have to look at in person, and there are semi-automation in which, as I said, there are applications which are actually looking at the seeds, are taking a picture, do a mechanism over there, and then it tells you what exactly are probably near to issues which is there for the plant. So once the plants are matured, you will go out for an harvest. Again, for an harvest, for an example, let's say we are talking about apple trees, or probably a strawberry, or probably the plums. Then what you do is we have vibrators, which is basically fixed to tractors, and those vibrators vibrate and pull down the apples or plums or jamuns or whatever it is. That is the one model. Second, for the rice, you have harvesting machines, which is basically getting into the field, harvest it, and come out. Third is a model in which you something like we see it in cotton, where you just walk in with a vacuum machine, where you just suck the cotton from the plant. Okay, so these are the this is applied today in foods harvesting also, and what we see in tea is also near to this, but it is not a vacuum based, but it is a cut and vacuum is what we do it. Finally, the storage is the place where you store the harvested items in a sack, and keep it for the next 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, or probably you sort it out and then give it to the market. Some of these storage seeds might be used for the next cycle of operations. Okay, this is what is actually happening today in market. Okay, I, as a farmer and an engineering person and or a technology person, where I was able to do some automation on ground practically. Okay, the biggest challenges today, or the difference between the US and Indian, as in US or Europe, you see acres of land having the same plants or the same crops on the field. But when you come down to Indian market scenario, right, or Indian agriculture scenario, the biggest challenge or the uniqueness that we have, or I would say not even India, it is Asia Pacific very specifically, is small pieces of land with multiple crops. Now, if you can just go down to the villages and see, he might just have 1 acre of land. In 1 acre of land, he will have 3 different crops or 4 different crops. One for the pulses, another for rice, third is for his fruits, and then for tall trees. Now, this is the 3 or 4 crops that you can actually see it on ground as such. So, in this, how do you identify it? There is a problem, or where is the source of the problem, or how do we make sure that complete automation is done? When I talk about automation, right? The first set of automation is seed preparation. Are we doing a seed preparation? We are not using the seeds in drums. Okay, it is all in kgs that we do. For an example, paddy. Now people start using from 2.5 kg to 30 kg per acre. Okay, so there's a major difference between the traditional farmers, organic farmers, and the natural farmers, and your chemical-based farmers. So I'm not getting into that, but the max 30 kg is what you use as a seeds for the paddy in a field. Are we able to automate and prepare my seed so that it is available for the next season? Today, in Indian context, the volume is not there, first of all. Okay, and there is a dynamicity today, which is coming up for the last 5 years. Is traditional farmers coming up with their native seeds. Okay, it is not the manufactured seed, or it is not the seed which is coming from the universities, which is having a pretty much vital role. For an example, something like Mapali Samba, something like Seera Samba, Karpu Kavani, right? These rice are very unique, and still they are not even near to the quantity that is needed in the market for the seed preparation, or for the unit which is doing it traditionally to take it up. Okay, so it is on a very, very small models or smaller end quantities, and usually it is exchanged on hand from one farmer to another farmer. Okay, so that is the place where you need to do certain process that needs to be defined, and it has to be protected, and it has to be needs some automation. Is there an automation today? No, it is what the answer is. Okay. Second goes down to the land preparation. Okay, today In an automation process, there are two ways the land is prepared or probably analyzed before preparation. One, there are many companies from Bangalore, Pune, Delhi offering satellite images. If you just give them the location of your farm, they'll be able to give you the landscape of your farm from satellite. Or probably you can still have drones coming up in the market. There are a lot of drones coming up in the market which actually has various sensors landed on top of it, which will actually help you to understand where is the depth, where is the what is the height of the land of the max, what is the depth of the land of the minimum, and how the water will flow. Now if there is a line or the rain or a flood, so how the land actually will behave in terms of when there is a rain, cyclone, or during the dry season. Okay, so that kind of analysis is available today either through drone or by satellite images. Okay, but again there is a problem where the cost of the satellite image that needs to be picked up. Okay, that is one. Second, when I try starting to use the drone, now what would be the cost? Yes, now when I use my drone, there are applications now which is on top of the drone can be used for this particular process, but the cost is when I compare the satellite images, this is pretty much lesser. Okay, that is one. But the challenges with respect to using the drone now for these activities as such. Okay, so this is the problem today. But what we do is we just walk down today, and the land has been owned for generations, or people live there for generations. We are able to understand the land contour, and we are able to understand how the water actually flows during those seasons. From the people who are already there in the villages. But what will happen in the near future is because of people moving from villages towards city, we will not be having that particular information going forward. For an example, last two generations of people are migrating from villages to the cities like Chennai. So what happens is he is losing the grounds or information which he picks up from his father or grandfather, and he is not able to understand today's context of issues which is coming up with respect to the cyclones and water movement as such. So land preparation, yes, there is a semi or probably a technology which is available to understand the land statistics as such, but is there an automation there? There is zero as such today. Okay, but is it available in US or Europe? Yes, I would say partially. Again, what happens is again they are able to understand with respect to the land in terms of huge volume, because it is going to be hundreds of acres. So it is able to they are able to understand pretty much easily. But what happens over here is most of the 70% of the farmers, I would say India is considering around 70% of the farmers, 70% doing farming. In that 70% of the farmers are small scale farmers. So which means people having lesser than 5 acres. Okay, so lesser than 5 acres, getting these drones into the into the field is much more tougher or not so cost effective when I compare to hundreds of acres available for US and European farmers now for the same activity. Okay, it is all just 1 hour of flight for the drone. Whether it is going to be 5 acres, it is going to be 10-15 minutes. But it's going to be an hour job for 100 acres. That's it, nothing more than that. Okay, so but what happens on ground is coming down to the particular place, getting the setup run, and then flying your drone, bringing it back. Okay, and also there is a challenge where when I talk about the Indian landscape for the farmers, small-time farmers, as I said, they might have 4 different crops. Okay, so when I talk about 4 different crops, you will see the mango trees, you see neem trees, you will see coconut coming in. So the drone has to adjust itself while it is flying. So which means your flight time is more and your land scanning is less. So which means the cost per acre for scanning of the drone is also shooting up. Okay, when I talk about satellite image, yes, you can have certain satellite images, but again it is costly than what we are going to do with the drone. So that is where the problems of automation today with respect to the land preparation as such. Second, the third point is on the planting and sowing. Okay, so what happens is, as I said, there are semi-automated machines. I would say mechatronic machines or probably mechanized machines today to transplant these seeds. Or you can transplant the grown paddy components or small grasses into the field. But now, will you be able to understand the land contour and then sowing it onto the thing? Is it integrated today? No, it is not integrated. Okay, so which means let's say there is a land which has ups and downs, and there is a sudden 300-400 meters. There's a sudden down which is happening for a meter or an half a meter. You, as a visual effect, you will not be able to understand it. When you talk about drone, from the drone, we will be able to understand the contour, or from a satellite image, we will be able to understand the contour. But are you giving that information to the tractor person, or are you giving the information to automate a tractor to make sure, as per the contour, you are able to sow it? For an example, let's say if it is going to be high, deep and high, then probably you might have to level the land, and then you have to sow the field. Okay, the seed as such. So, or probably when you are talking about the ground is 100 or 200 meters, it is lesser than the current the level, then probably you might have to understand that it cannot be dropped. For example, this is a very classic example in terms of groundnut. Okay, when you have a tractor and which is mounted with a seed sowing machine over there, and you are trying to run the tractor on the ground, and it all knows that in a specific frequency, or probably within a specific distance, it has to drop the seed. Okay, and there would be I would say like a small plate which is coming in the back of the tractor, which actually closes the seed with the soil. Okay, so this is what it does. It doesn't know exactly where the land is actually up or down. For it, there's a tractor which is a mechanized machine. It will just drop it and go. Same thing happens with the paddy also. Okay, so these two things are not interrelated, or probably it is not interconnected to move forward. Okay, today the planting and sowing is still done manually or through mechanized machines only. Okay, there are certain machines available in the US for small machines and handmade machines for sowing. Either we do it by hand, but there are certain sowing machines just coming up, or which is already there in the market for your the lawns, to grow the grass. Okay, it is basically it is a haphazardly throws the seed across the field or across the lawn as such. So how do you control it? Basically, you just move fast or move slow to make sure the density of the seed which is falling on the ground is actually controlled. That's the only mechanism in which we do it. Next comes your plant monitoring. Okay, but before, in the plant monitoring process, what happens is the primary thing is not only monitoring but also making sure that the plant actually grows properly. So for making the plant to grow, what we do is we water the plant, or we water the particular field as such. So how do we water it? It is through bore wells or well. We pump the water through the tubes or through the canals, and then it actually reaches the plant. Okay, or we use the pipes and the rain hoses and other things, and then we water the particular plant as such. Okay, can we do an automation? Yes, 100% automation is possible. Today, people are, I would not say 100%, I would say 60% automation is possible. Today, people are actually, controlling the motor to run or to stop using the mobile phone. That's a pretty much a small mini time project which many of the engineers would have already done it at the projects. Okay, so which is already the GSM based, the motor monitoring or motor controlling mechanisms are already there in the market. Okay, second is when you switch on the motor or switch off the motor, you have to change the pattern in which the water is actually flowing onto the field. For that, we use solenoid valves, and we control the water, or the channelize the water accordingly. Okay, so controlling and channelizing will be done through the solenoid valves. Third is basically understanding if the ground in which you are operating is actually wet, or as per the norms it is it is moistured or whatever it is, right? So that how are you monitoring today? We don't monitor at all. Is there a possibility of automation? Yes, there is an automation process where there are certain sensors which can be planted onto the field, and it can be traversing the data back to the to the central team, where either it can be through Zigbee or through RFID or through RF or through any other Wi-Fi mechanisms. It can be it can be passing that information back or through the cable, physical cable. It can pass on the information directly to the centralized panel, from where it can be pushed for the to the centralized server for more detailed analysis. Are we doing it today? We are not doing it today. Is US and Europe is already doing it? Yes, they are already doing it. We will just talk about what is the economics behind it. Okay, when we talk about economics, the motor control mechanism itself is going to charge coming down to 3,000 to 4,000 rupees for a good branded controller mechanisms as such. That is the one. Second, we are talking about solenoid valves. Solenoid valves will vary the cost from 7,000 to 12,000 based on the pipe dimension. Okay, in the channel dimension as such. Third is the sensor, which is going to be on ground, which is going to talk back to the system. When I talk about the sensor, which is a physical sensor, which is going to be there attached to a cable, then your cable charges is also there, and there are a lot of possibility that it can have an issue through rack or through tractor or any other items which is coming inside your field as such. Okay, that is the one. Second, we are also talking about RF based things, right? So RF based, your IoT sensors or the sensors on ground. The biggest challenge is it's in the open field. Open field has a lot of mechanism where the air actually has a lot more issues. The air might blow in an opposite direction at a high speed, and you will not be able to get the data, or the data may break. So all these issues are already there in the field, and that is where the problem of getting the data on ground is there. Okay, so solenoid valves, as I said, each solenoid valve will cost you around 10,000 rupees or some 7,000 to 12,000 rupees. Will a small time farmer will be able to spend for it is the biggest question mark today in the market. Okay, so what is actually happening? He walks down to the field, he gets into the field, looks at each and every plant, or looks at the soil and says if the water is sufficient or the water is not sufficient. It goes down to switch off the the motor as such. There are also there is also another possibility where the particular owner walks down, looks at the soil and say like, hey, okay, it is fantastic, the water has arrived to this particular plant sufficiently. He will just use the SMS or to the mobile phone and switch off the motor from maybe some not 200 300 meters away itself. Okay, because he might be in a second acre or in the third acre of his 5 acre farm. So probably instead of walking down that much time, he might switch it off with the that is the only way in which today the automation is done in the market in Indian context. Okay, but how about in US, right? Now, yes, there's a lot of things which is happening on the ground over here. Okay, in watering mechanisms, there are machines which is actually talks to the IoT sensors, and those sensors are actually traversing back the data. And now they're able to do it. Okay, there are two issues again, as I said, right? One is the cost of the sensors. Second is the data which is actually coming out. It is captured, it is not lost in the wind or by any other ecological factor. So what happens is basically, the number of sensors or the mesh of a sensor, the mesh which is being created for the sensors are very, very strong, and that mesh actually pushes the data back to the panel as such. So that is the advantage of having a lot more a lot more sensors, lot more mesh-based networks available on the ground. But what happens to Indian is the number of sensors. One sensor is around 800 rupees, 900 rupees. Will Indian farmers, small time farmers, will be able to afford? That is the biggest challenge. So what needs to be done is you have to reduce the cost of the sensor to 100 rupees or 200 rupees. Like now, what they talk is $8, $9, right? Which is basically in their terms or in their economical point of view, it is 10 rupees or 15 rupees or 20 rupees. We are not looking at that particular factor. We are talking about psychologically 100 rupees, 200 rupees is what we need to look at. When we need to have an IoT device on ground on the field. Okay, that is the first part of it. Second part of this is basically understanding how the plant grows and how we are monitoring it. For an example, when an organic farmer steps in, so he basically will see how many insects are already there, the good insects. We classify insects into two: good insects, bad insects. So we will look at how many good insects are there in the field, how many, how the earthworms comes in, how many, how it does breathe, what are the other insects, good insects which is there on the field. So those things we understand, we look at it and then see it. When I do an automation there, what happens is the automation is not so intelligent today to understand the difference between a good insect and a bad insect. Okay, that needs to be improved, that needs to be corrected, or that needs to be applied for an Indian context as such. But for it is going to say it is now, or this particular field is with too many insects. But insects itself has two different properties. That is the first part of it. Second part of it is basically understanding how the growth of the plant is actually happening in terms of it might, the leaf might turn into ash color or an yellow color, or it can be turning into white, or it can go dry. So we have to understand why it is going dry. What is the reasons behind it? Because too much of watering will also will have an adverse effect on the plant. So how do we understand that, or we understand there is a calcium deficiency or a zinc deficiency or an iron deficiency or a boron deficiency? How do you understand with respect to the various color patterns available on the leaf or the stem or on the root? Okay, so this is semi-automated today. What I mean by semi-automated is we are able to, instead of transferring the knowledge from one person to another person, there is an app which is actually telling you, boss, when you scan this particular leaf, this is what it does. This particular plant does not have an iron sufficiently which is needed. For an example, if it is going to be a moringa, then this particular leaf has to be with this particular of iron content. If it is not there, there will be an alarm which will be generated and it will be showcased. So that kind of AI which is near to 90%, which is already there. But is that integrated into an ecosystem? No, it is not integrated into the ecosystem. Is it integrated with an IoT platform? No, it is not done with the IoT platform. That is the fourth thing that we are looking for. We might move on to harvesting. Harvesting, what happens is, again, when I talk about planting or sowing, what happened is same thing with the harvesting as such. Are we able to harvest it independently, automatically? No. Yes, we are doing it today with the more towards using mechanized machines, which can use various machines to vibrate and get the foods to flow down, or it can pick the apple. It can actually suck the apple and then it can get into the truck, push it to the truck. So all these things are already there. Again, it is a mechanized machine which is there. Okay, is there a possibility to understand what is the amount of fruits which is there in the market and the tree? Yes, there is a possibility. Again, it is through the drone which is there today. Okay, and again, I forgot it, for the plant growth monitoring. We also have a drone mechanism which can actually understand how much of green area which is covered today, and what was it before, and now how the green area is there. Same thing applies to your harvesting also. It can identify 70 to 80% near accuracy of how many mangoes are there in the mango plant, or how many coconuts are there in the coconut plant. Okay, there are certain mechanisms in which you have to fly a drone, but there is a possibility of identifying a fruit and do it. Not available for everything, but yes, there are certain trees or certain plants for which you can use the drone to get this understanding as such, and then you can understand and you can move your harvesting machines accordingly inside the field as such. Finally, comes down to the storage. Before getting the storage, what happens is, after harvest, you have to clean the things over there to a first level, and then it goes to the storage place where it is even more cleaned, and it is tagged for a specific purpose. For an example, let's say we are talking about Soma bringing in a paddy, in a bag. It is predominantly numbered, labeled, and it is with the date, the person, the land, and the type of crop it is. So all those are actually locked, and it is tagged in the storage area, and it is stored. The biggest challenge in the storage is basically, or probably I would say how the storage is done is predominantly today through the open sheds. That is one. Second, through the cold chains and the cold rooms as such. Third is basically through a room where it is moisture is controlled or the humidity is controlled, and then your fumigation is also done. Okay, so these are the various methods in which the storage is done. When I talk about fumigation, the automated fumigation process is already in place. Once you are inside a storage room, it is closed, which has a shed properly, the humidity, your moisture, your temperature, other temperature systems can be completely automated, and it can be done, which is already there in the huge bulk area where which is already there. But what happens in Indian scenarios, these are stored in their homes or a smaller mills, or for an example, paddy, right? When you have lesser than 500 bags, the modern mills will not even accept your storage of paddy, or it will not even process your paddy. So you have to go down for a smaller quantity or a smaller mills, or the old mills which will be able to accept your 50 bags or 100 bags, or lesser than 250 bags or 200 bags as such. So the storage is an issue for the people in small time farmers, and maintaining that storage is another very beautiful issue, which is still not being cracked. Okay, so these are the places, or there are the places where semi-automation is done today. What is next for tomorrow, for the same cycle of areas in agriculture? What is the next that we can look out for, or what we can actually look out for in terms of building a capability for Indian farmers, right? That is the next question that you might raise too. First question is like yes, seed process is already there are multiple processes in which seed is being prepared. Will you be able to do an end-to-end automation in terms of how much of seed is pushed in, how much the seed is actually coated, and how it is packed? Yes, there is a 100% possibility of seed automation or seed preparation automation as such, but it comes only on the volume. Is it available today in a lesser context, or in a small time farmers or a medium sized farmers? It is not available. Okay, and very specifically for the native seeds or traditional seeds. Okay, do we have some mechanism here? No, it is not. Okay, let's be very clear on it. Okay, so we don't have the fully end-to-end automated process of seed preparation for the small time farmers or traditional rices or seeds and such. That is the first thing. Second, when you talk about land preparation, that is where your land preparation and plant and sowing should be integrated together, and it has to be looked at as one single job. Okay, but it is not going to be done on a same day. It is going to be on a multiple days. Okay, so land preparation need to understand the data on ground to see the contour, or probably the ups and lows of your land as such. That is one. Second, it also understands the nutrients is available after harvesting the previous harvest. What is the current nutrient capacity? What would be how the water is changed? What are the nutrients that is needed for the next set of crop which is going to be there? Is it available in my land, or in my the soil, or in my water? That needs to be automated, and that needs to be integrated with your planting or sowing mechanism. For an example, When you talk about the let's say talk about the paddy field itself, okay. When you have a down segment in your field where the paddy actually will have more depth, and there is a possibility of flooding in that particular specific region of your land, then which means you might have to increase your transportation from 1 or 2 to 4 to 6, so that tomorrow if there are something which is happening in the inside the field, you'll be able to at least save 1 or 2 grasses rather than losing everything as such, and losing the particular space as such. And so probably what this integration needs to be done. Do we have it today? No, it is not. No, it is not there. Is the land data is being fed into the tractor to get the land prepared properly, or to an even scenario? It is not there. So what happens is basically through a laser mechanism or through the drone, what you do is we understand the land contours, and it is done repeatedly. For an example, once they say this particular place is up and another place is down, so they use the tractor to level it up again. Then they use the same sensor to see if it has been land has been evenly done or not. If not, they will again look at specific parts in which it is not done. Then they will move the machine again. So is this machine talking directly with the contour understanding sensors or to the machines? No, it is not. That needs to be integrated and moved on. Okay. I would now move on to the last, the plant growth and monitoring. Okay. With all these in place, will you be able to understand what is needed for the plant? For an example, let's say in a hydroponics, you can see this. Okay. Or probably in a hydroponics, you can see 80 or 85% of what we are going to talk now. Okay. Based on understanding of your plant growth, okay, from because of the tubes or to the leaf, the diseases, understanding the disease, accordingly pump in the respective things. For an example, if the nitrogen is fixed not properly, then your leaf might turn in a different color. So once you understand it, using the watering mechanism, will you be able to inject more nitrogen, or probably spray the water in the air, so that the water absorbs the nitrogen and and falls on the leaf of the plant to make it absorb on the leaf and also on the root. Will you be able to do it? No, it is not. Okay, so integration cannot be is not done today, but it can be done. There's a lot more options where you integrate this Plantix kind of app, or an app which actually understands the problem of that particular plant in terms of the growth pattern, or probably the leaf issues, and talking to the to the centralized point and say like, hey, this particular plant has a zinc problem or a magnesium problem or a calcium problem, just give me zinc alone, right? And that is actually used through the water to feed into the plant. Now, and very specifically targeting a plant is another very big issue. Okay, so you have to do it for the entire field for today, not for a specific plant. Will you be able to do it? Yes, and unless concentrated plants, something like your coconut trees, can be done, but not on a rice field or in a vegetable field. That will be a really tough challenge as such. Okay, moving on to the harvesting. Are we able to, again, based on the drone mechanism, are we giving the data to the tractors to make sure or the vibrating and harvesting machines or the fruits? Are you able to feed it to the system? Are you able to get it? No, it is not. Okay, so there are a lot more chances of doing an automation on the harvesting as such. Storage, yes, it is too much advanced today in storage itself. Small godowns, bigger godowns adapt to at least to some kind of automation as such. But the biggest thing that can evolve is the blockchain. Okay, so blockchain, you need to take a look at it and see how these the harvest which came in to this particular godown is actually tagged for the particular user, not only just making with a label or a paperwork as such, but rather how do you understand that this particular person has given this particular data, sorry, to the particular seeds, and then how it is getting stored, when it came, what is the quality of it today, or all these are integrated and it is reported in a blockchain mechanism. No, it is not today. Okay, there are people who are trying to do the blockchain mechanism from the supply chain management angle. Okay, are we doing that in the storage angle? No, we are not doing it today. We don't have any tool or mechanism today in in monitoring or in a place where storage is done. Are we able to track back the particular farmer, or are we able to track back the quality of the seed which came in, and what is it today? We don't have anything as such. Though there are a lot of advances which is there, are we there? No, it is not. Can we do it? Yes, there is a lot more greeny area in storage which can be used for this particular activity. Okay, so what I see, predominantly is like blockchain, which can be on an overall angle, right? So we are already done with what is possibility of automation, but on an overall angle, what we see is like there are few concepts that can be looked at. One is the blockchain component. Second is the drone-based mechanism, where you understand the land or the plant or the harvest is coming, whatever it is, right? If the data can be fed into your cloud, and you can do some analytics on top of that, but is that analytics is just giving you an information or driving you into actions in an automated way, right? That is the bigger question mark that we might have to answer it. Okay, this is not answered today end to end. That can be done. Okay, this is not only through drones, but it can be either through satellite images also. Now, are we able to have the AI based logics for doing this today? I would say we are not even 50% or 40% what it is actually needed, right? So in a farmer's context, practically on ground, those logics today, or the libraries today, or the applications today are actually failing. So if you are looking for some projects, please look at the automating or driving the data into actions for the field, Indian field as such. That is the second thing that I would request you guys to take a look at it. Third is the place where we are talking about planting the seeds or planting our sowing, right? That is also completely today untapped. There are certain Chinese companies coming up with drones to sow, or probably I would say just throw the seeds onto the field. Okay, yes, on a specific wave or a specific mechanism or a specific frequency, they are dropping the seeds as such. It is all good, but is it integrated with your land contour? It is not. Okay, that needs to be done. That can be done also. Finally, in Indian context, the economics makes a big difference as such. Now, when you talk, someone is giving you money to put these sensors on ground, some CSR activities are happening. Yes, it is all good. Your project is very much successful, and you'll be able to give it to them. But on ground, if a farmer will be able to spend his money to buy these sensors, these machines, or these logics, to it, no, we are not able to get into the particular level. So what needs to be done from the young budding engineers, or probably from the scientists, is on practical ground, if I am able to get a soil sensor for 100 rupees or 200 rupees, or for a solenoid valve I will be able to spend 3,000 to 4,000 rupees, then you will be able to crack. This farmers will be able to spend with the help of the government too. But without help of the government, or independently purchasing all these things as a passionist, they can do it. But on a particular ground, getting an ROI out of it will be a real challenge for the Indian farmers. So these are my inputs, or after understanding with my engineering knowledge or technology knowledge, and also on the agricultural aspects as such. So that's it from my end. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks, Pragadish. We can open up for the questions they want. Thank you. Pragadish, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah. It's a great pleasure to have you for today's session. Like, it's a great nurture for everyone who attended this session. I think we can't say it's enough. So anyway, due to pandemic, we are conducting through a virtual session. Anyway, soon we'll have your session through conventional mode once the situation becomes normal. Then we had a different kind of plans to collaborate to put into some things into automation. So like for that also we will take this to the people who are passionate towards into automation, and also people from mechatronics and the ECA, some other fields also. So already we had plans. I think we have facing some technical issues in the chat boxes. So like so maybe we'll getting delay in getting questions through the chat box. So let me raise the questions from my side. It's not a question. So like about Vatam, Vatam is it's a startup like around 2 to 3 years. We can say old or young institution. What is your role in developing an ecosystem? What kind of contribution? We can say who are the beneficiaries normally getting benefited through Vatam?
Okay, we are actually looking at two different angles, in implementing a technology. First is the blockchain, and we are also looking only on the supply chain management, not on the farm level activities, but to a last leg of the farm, to the end customer's home. That is what we are trying to do, not from a storage point of view, but rather we are tagging, or we are identifying the poor person who's actually giving us the paddy, right, or the harvest as such, and how it is actually reduced to the finished value-added product, and then how it is shipped to the end customer. So each and every customer will be able to know from which field this particular packet came in. Now for that, right, that is the concept that we want to drive it in for the blockchain. Okay, if I'm pretty much open to ideas or people who want to help with us, to shape up this particular thought process into more viable product. We are already there with certain modules inside it, but we are looking for people who can actually help us to do it in a full-fledged way, and also in a more institutionalized way. Okay, so that is the first thing that we are looking on. Second, what we believe is drone as such is good, in terms of crazy word. Everyone will talk about satellite, will talk about drone, but will this work on a long term per se? I would say economically, and also in terms of usage of the drone. For an example, today's battery scenario, right? You will not be able to fly the drone for more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes on all practical reasons. Okay, because of wind and other contours and other issues. Practically, you cannot drive it for more than 15-20 minutes. Let's say if we talk about 45 minutes or 1 hour itself, okay, that is not enough to collect the data continuously. Okay, again, you need to have backup of batteries and other things. That is one. Second, the amount of investment that is needed for buying a drone, or you are bringing in a consultant who is actually or probably a service provider who is already having a drone. Then also will you be able to do it? Again, the cost makes a big difference. Your land, the content inside the land, your trees, your plants makes a big difference. And these are the smaller in Indian context. Okay, and in the US you don't have it. You start flying the drone, it just flies, comes back again. After 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers. Tea estate is a very classic example, right? You can launch your DJ drone, and it will just fly from this area to another area. You can do a geotagging, and it flies and comes back, because the number of trees which is planted inside the thing is in a specific frequency or in a specific format, right? But when you talk about the same thing which is happening inside a coffee estate, or in a normal place where there is a mesh of multiple plants, you are not able to do it. So we are trying to see if a drone, alternative to drone, lesser cost, more reliable. We are talking about multiple robots coming into picture. Okay, you can also understand. It will take some time, but it will also understand the land on ground. Okay, at a lesser cost. One, or it will also talk about seeding and weeding, with respect to the contours or dimensions of the particular land. Okay, so that is not available today in market, which is what we are trying to crack it up. So these are two things now we see. There's a lot more possibilities.
Okay. So for any company, for if they are a startup or they are enterprises, everyone have vision and mission. So according to what I'm on dairy industry, so what I'm trying to ask, we need a revolution. So like everyone says that agri is getting down nowadays. During pandemic, agri is the only one thing which is getting boom. So we can see all those data which shows that there is increase in GDP also. According to Vatam, so what kind of revolution should come to improve the agri productivity? So, like in terms of, for example, there are so many agri colleges are there in Tamil Nadu and all over India. So, what kind of things to be rectified or overcome from the agri colleges, and because they have a tie-up with farmers, FPOs, and then with research and development departments and marketing department everywhere. So, like if something to be changed means what kind of things has to be done from their side to improve this our agriculture sector. So, like they are the one which are having a direct link with the farmers. So we people are recently have a link with them. So we people have idea, but at the same time they have a direct bonding with them. They have a direct link with the government agencies and government departments, like everywhere, like agri ministry, everything. So, like what kind of things has to be overcome to change to increase the productivity, to increase the livelihood, everything we can say. So anything is there from bottom to raise a suggestion to the government or whoever. I want to raise questions from my side.
Sure. Pragnesh, what we are focusing today in India is more on creating the seeds or the crops which is more productive in nature. Okay, across the world, the same thing is happening. Okay, and what we are focusing is more on mechanization, right? We already have machines in place, but the problem is, are we integrating all the machines to talk to each other and getting it executed? Okay, which is not there today. Okay, for example, is your tractor talks to your motor to understand? Okay, so for example, the tractor comes for a paddy field. Okay, on all practical reasons, the tractor, when it comes to the or when it needs to operate, first it needs to operate on a dry soil, and then it has to operate on a wet soil. Okay, to make sure now the transportation can start happening. Will your tractor talk to the motor? No, it is not. Can this be possible? Yes, it is possible. If the tractor is owned today by a specific farmer, and if the tractor will operate only to that particular motor or to a set of motors, it is possible. Can that be integrated with the clusters of farmers? They are not doing it today. Okay, it is a simple mechanism, right? No, when the tractor reaches, or when it is, for an example, the person owns a tractor, he is going to run this tractor for next 10 minutes to reach a field, and the field. Either he calls up the farmer in the field and say, like, hey, is the water is ready? Is the soil is wet, or no, it is not wet? Then he starts from from his house to the particular field or not. Okay, can this be integrated? Yes, it can be integrated. But anyone has taken a step? No, it is not taken. Okay, these are the small things. We have machines. For our transportation, yes, we have machines. And for the soil manuring, yes, we have machines. We do have machines. Are we integrating all these things on the cloud and doing it? No, it is not. Okay. One thing that we see for the last 3-4 years is the internet, the speed of the internet, the volume of internet getting consumed is high, and specifically in this COVID situation, it has tripled, or I would say, it is more than triple or 4 times or 5 times. It is increased, which is actually driving the network capability also, or the network providers to give a lot more different kind of schemes. Earlier, probably if you would have seen in the broadband scenario, right? You would have seen, people talk about 100 GB of data, 200 GB of data. But today, people talk about 40 Mbps of speed, 100 Mbps speed. They don't talk about volume of data, right? So data is is not an issue here. Okay, the problem is with respect to the speed of the internet which is available. Is it available today? Yes, it is available today. Are we consuming the data rightly now and making it an actionable? No, it is not. Okay. So it is something like a chicken egg problem, right? Chicken is now there. Are we going to use the egg properly for an omelette or any other usage is what the question is, right? So probably what we might have to look at how data today, which is there from the sensors, can be used. Okay, that is not actionable data, which which you are getting it through a lot of AI-based process or NLP-based process, getting it, understanding it, and making it actionable. Though you make it actionable, there is no things on ground to execute it, right? Like is drone understanding the data from the soil sensor data and showing it? No, it is not. Okay, it has its own entity, right? It is flying for the first time, understands the land, whether it is wet or dry, and then it comes again, takes the seed and then sows it again. Okay, so it is basically 2 or 3 times a cycle it is actually happening. Okay, which needs to be contained. Okay, it has to be integrated. So if it needs an integration, then your sensors needs to be on-ground sensors needs to be there. On-ground sensors today, as I said earlier, it is very, very costly. So if we are able to crack the sensors on the ground to the cost which can be given by a specific small-time farmers, then that breaks the ground. Rather than bringing in tractors and big machines or like drones or a satellite, rather invest more on the sensor creation, or defining or creating a sensor and making it viable. One classic example I take it every time, when I talk to a technology person, right? I being a technology guy, when we were sowing a millet, I think I told you the story also, Pradesh. I'm not remembering that, but still, I'll tell for the bigger audience here. So, when we talked about millets, in my place, there are a lot of birds coming in, and it actually, consumes a lot more millets, from the plants as such. So, people say that you need to keep, or your farmer has to, have a big, plate and say bang, 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 and going around the field and then coming back. So, what happens practically on ground is, the farmers are not people just go sleep. That's it, simple. Okay, they work for 1 hour in the morning. They go sit in a place and they take a rest. Okay. So what? As a technology person, I did a 555 timer, put a small microcontroller mechanism where I spent around 800-900 rupees. I created a fan which can just make an alarm. Okay, so it's basically sound generating circuit as such. Okay, so it will actually generate a sound every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that can be adjustable. Okay, once I put this on my place, and I took a video and sent to a group, WhatsApp group. There was another person who hit back from saying that I did the same thing with just 100 rupees. Okay, and it was a simple wind-based fan to just rotate and hit the plate which is on the place. And it can be repeated with just 1,000 rupees for 3-4 acres. And I did it for just 1 acre. We are also thinking about having a ultrasound devices, right? It is available in Amazon today. It generates a little bit of irritating sounds to the to the peacocks and monkeys and other things. We think it will work. Yes, it is working for a month too. The monkeys are very, very clever. And they practice to this sound, and they understand it's just a sound. It doesn't make any big difference, and gets used to it, like your mosquito or a cockroach, and now it comes back again. So they are very, very intelligent. So we might have to throw out our engineering mindset and look out for building a solution rather than solving the problem as a technology guy. That is the difference. You need to apply your technology. You need to apply your engineering. Okay. But don't lose your concepts and apply the concepts to build an overall solution. That is not happening today. Okay. Independently, am I creating a motor automation robot, water generation or water pumping mechanism? It is there. Okay. Independently, things are there. Okay. Are we able to integrate everything and doing it? It is not there. Which needs to be focused by the technology universities or schools like yours. Or probably from various DRDO or CSIR things from Indian government as such. That's a request I would keep either such preparation.
Yeah. So coming to commercial, so like what kind of opportunities are giving for any kind of people, like first if they are startup, if they are individual, they are approaching for Vatam Agro and dairy industries. So like what kind of commercial opportunities are giving? Like if it is a, I think it's ours is a B2B. So like any franchisee or any kind of wholesale supplies or any kind of outlet format. So what kind of things are going on from Vatam?
Okay, so we supply to the wholesale people. And we also supply to the manufacturers and such. So anyone looking out for an honest product from a specific farmer, we are open to have the discussion. We will also show from which place or which farmer this is coming. They can go down to their particular field, take a look at it, and then procure it from the farmer directly. That's the thing that we enable it. Now we don't see everything as a money, but rather now we are trying to connect the farmer to the market assets. That's the overall first set of things that we do. Yes, we are open now for wholesale purchases. In case you want to take a look at it. Okay, so that is the first part of it. Second part is like as I said, right now the farmer is coming to us now without being an organic farmer or being a natural farmer or an organic farmer itself, right? So all three possibilities are there. So what we do is like we trade non-organic items, and we supply to our customers through a brand called Watson, which is very specifically only with the organic method of production, right? Only that is supplied through the Watson as such. So if anyone is looking for Watson products, they can approach us. That is one. But they can also take a dealership, and they can go out for a market with our brand as such, exclusive brand as such. That is also possible.
Yeah. So we had a long interactive session. So I think I really thank for your time during your busy schedule. We had enough nurture. I think hope audience also can understand. The commercial also was clear from your side also. So from our side also we will send details about the Vatam and Agro Dairy Industries, so the contact details, and from about you, and then from the film address also. Soon we will have our conventional mode session to have a better interaction in the open mode. So then we can get some question and answer through the direct session also. What we discussed also, we will have soon with some other technical collaboration, and also we had a different type of plans to work together. I really thank for your time and for the technical ideas and then suggestions, and then the automation in your region. And I really thank once again to the audience also, so to who participated today. So soon we will meet in another session. And once again, thank to Mr. Somashchandran. We will meet you in another